News tonight in the great state of Michigan, where the state appeals court has blocked a lower court ruling that's part of a remarkable fight playing out between Michigan's Republicans and Michigan's Democrats. This is a fascinating story in Michigan politics, and since we have been reporting on it, frankly feels like we've hit about 1,000 nerves on both sides. But here's the basics. In the 2010 election, things went about as well as you could imagine for Michigan Republicans. Republican Rick Snyder won the governorship, and Michigan Republicans won big majorities in both houses of the state legislature. They won majorities, they won really big majorities, but they did not win quite big enough majorities. See, thanks to a change in the state constitution back in the 1960s, yes, that's Mr. Romney's dad there on the left, George Romney, since they last tweaked their constitution about 50 years ago, if you have a 2/3 majority vote in the legislature, you do not have to wait for the end of the session for passed bills to become law. With a 2/3 vote, a supermajority vote, you can have those bills become law immediately. They go into immediate effect. Michigan Republicans have that 2/3 supermajority in the Senate, but they don't have it in the House. And even though they don't have that 2/3 supermajority in the House, which they would need to put their laws into immediate effect, they have been acting like they do have that majority. Here's what that looks like. What you're going to see here is the Republican Speaker of the House making the decision that 2/3 of the legislature, that 73 people, are voting that this law that just passed should go into immediate effect. Watch him count to 73.
The Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Stamas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move for immediate effect.
Speaker, the Majority Floor... The Majority Floor Leader has requested a record roll call vote. All those in favor, please rise. I'm sorry. The Majority Floor Leader has requested immediate effect. All those in favor, please rise. Immediate effect is ordered.
What the House Speaker is purporting to do there is count, I think in about 3 seconds, to 73. To count at least 73 supporters standing up in that giant chamber on a measure that he knows just passed with only 62 votes. 1, 2, 3, 73, done! Now, Michigan Republicans responded angrily to our reporting on this last week with a statement from the Republican Speaker of the House accusing me of whining and of having liberal sour grapes. I think the House Speaker is making a vineyard joke there, like the grapes are sour but are nevertheless being fermented into delicious wine, W-I-N-E, which sounds like wine, W-H-I-N-E. So it's a homophone joke, which is excellent. And as impressed as I am by the sounds-alike wine-related insult the Republican Speaker of the Michigan House has thrown my way, I should also note that I concede his point, which I should have made clear in our initial reporting, that both Democrats and Republicans in Michigan have passed lots of legislation by immediate effect. Republicans are not doing this more frequently than Democrats did when the legislature was under Democratic control. Both sides have done this. But what's different now is this. This is Democrats trying to get an actual count, and Republicans not letting them. It's one thing to glance around the room, assume you've got your supermajority, and bang, gavel it through. It's another thing to refuse to check your count when the minority side calls you out for the fact that you seem to be lying about that count. Republicans say they used to get ignored too when they were in the minority, but they say they didn't think it was any big deal. They didn't much care about it. The state's Democrats have now gone so far as to sue in state court to try to get that count, to try to get the immediate effect of several new laws overturned, because they say they were passed without a real count. They were passed illegally. It was that lawsuit that last week convinced a Michigan state judge to issue a stay to block the implementation of several new laws that would otherwise have gone into immediate effect in Michigan. A state appeals court today overturned that, saying 2 of those laws can go into effect after all. The Republicans in the legislature have the Republican state attorney general arguing this case on their side, and the court that sided with them today says that it is the court that gets to hear all further proceedings on this issue. And so as this fight unfurls, Michigan is left with some questions. Can a court step in if a legislature is operating contrary to the Constitution and not allowing voting where there should be voting? Should the court intervene if operating contrary to the Constitution and not allowing voting is something everybody's been comfortable with for a long time? And, more importantly, as Michigan rolls into its second year of expanded emergency manager powers, overruling local voting rights. The emergency manager law, remember, not just passed, but also put into immediate effect, even though it appears Republicans did not have the votes to do that. As cities like Benton Harbor and Pontiac and Flint and very nearly Detroit itself are having their citizens stripped of their right to vote at the local level in Michigan. The question remains, what's going on in Michigan? And why is it first recourse in Michigan now to put a halt to all the pesky voting, to solve the state's problems by stopping the voting process that is otherwise known as democracy? And who, if anyone, is going to change that in the state of Michigan? On a personal note, I have to say I am more inclined than ever to stay on this story. One, because it keeps getting more and more interesting and more fraught all the time. I think something is going on in Michigan that's going on nowhere else in the country, and it deserves a lot more attention than it's getting. The more rocks you overturn, the more you learn. But also, turns out your insults make me stronger. Bring it on. Keep shooting the messenger.